Whoa, what the hell of a face to start on. Well, I'm gonna do one more video before I give up and just like go watch TV or some shit like that. Not TV, but go stream or something like that. But I feel like tonight I want to do one more black conservative, and I want to do this dipshit Officer Tatum. See, look, what you need to keep in mind: a lot of black cops are racist, and if you are, just because you are black or you are that race, does not exempt you from being a racist piece of shit, just like a racist white person. See, I'm gonna answer his question before I answer this question is because a lot of black people become conservatives because it seems like sometimes there's a lot of ching ching ching, a lot of money in repeating white supremacist talking points through a black mouth, and they will say the things that are really really racist that a normal conservative or even a Nazi ideologue won't say, and a lot of white people will pay a lot of money to get these people so many views just to hear their bigotry justified. I'm not saying all white people are bigoted, but some white people might have questions that they need answered, like, okay, why are black people committing crime? Instead of talking about data, statistics, and history, this guy was saying, like, oh, yeah, you just need to pull yourself up by your bootstrap. The simple minded man's approach. And I really don't like this guy. I don't like this guy. I don't like Elliot Hulse either because just the same reason I don't like Tim Pool. I hate people that pretend to be working class tough guys. I'm the working class tough guy. I punch into a fucking steel plant every day. I'm the one that's in a union. I'm the one that spends his times on the street skating and shit like that. You're not a tough guy just because I'm the black guy that's seeing through the darkness and breaking the mold. No, dude, you're not. Especially considering the fact I don't even think you're even a cop anymore. And then all that time being a police officer, apparently you didn't learn nothing about socioeconomics.
How I became conservative. This video is brought to you by Beating Black and Blue, being a black cop in America under siege. Make sure you get that book. So I appreciate everybody that have been supporting the podcast. Thank you. Also, go and subscribe to Tatum Clips, my other channel, where we put additional content on that. Not including the exclusive content that we do for the members, but this is just additional content of things I can't post on this channel. I'll post it on the Tatum Clips channel. Like and subscribe to this channel. Y'all know what to do. Let's get into this. Ladies and
Yeah, it's
gentlemen,
fucking
ladies, people
moron.
are
Here we
always
go.
asking me, almost at every event, were you always conservative? When did you become conservative? I'm going to try to give you the Reader's Digest version of this and make it real quick because I know y'all don't.
Because I've been black my whole life and I saw black people didn't try hard enough, so I started to hate my own people after a while of being black and then being a black police officer. I saw that they just need to pull themselves up by a police officer. Did I mention I was black yet?
Want to hear me talk about this all day long. So, growing up, I was not a conservative. I believed I was a Democrat. Before I knew anything about politics, nobody articulated the difference between the two. It was just known as a black man in America, and this is why I think it's so much. Now I know, looking back, there's so much
That's
brainwashing going on.
okay, dude. That's because Republicans are fucking racist. They regularly racist dog whistle. They still partake in Southern strategy style rhetoric to get votes from ignorant white people, and they use black people like you for plausible deniability of racism towards African Americans. Every time something bad happens to a black person is killed by the police from the Rodney King shit, even further back than that, the conservative people in this country, whether we're talking about when the Democrats were conservative all the way to the Rodney King riots, all the way up to the shit that happened to George Floyd, to the socio-economic problems we're still experiencing in 2022, Republicans make shit worse. Not only with their racist rhetoric, but with their dog shit economic policies. Republicans are union busters. Unions can undermine the effects of racism because they raise wages for inner city workers. Guess who's against them? Republicans. Who's trying to take away Social Security and food stamps? Republican. Who doesn't want people to have time off work? Republicans. Who keep wages stagnant way more than just two Democrats? Republicans do. Every single time when it comes to socioeconomic that can help working class people and by extension a lot of black people in this country, Republicans always make shit worse. Who's in favor of keeping the drug war waging? Republicans. Instead of trying to, because I already know what you're going to try to do, bro. I don't know which way you're going to go. Are you going to go to Dinesh D'Souza / Candace Owens lying way and you say that the Southern strategy never happened? Or are you going to say that because the Democrats actually try to promote policies that help people, they're the real racists because they have bigotry and low expectations? I'm waiting to see.
Because without any knowledge or anybody even talking about voting, Black people are
You
Democrats
still
and
don't got no
Republicans are racist
knowledge.
white people. That's what it was. And
And that's
so
how it
I
still
believe that
is.
growing up, I also had the sentiment of police officers are just pulling black people over for no reason. I had all of
They
that growing
do,
up.
they do, they do. And I know you gonna give a personal story, so let me give one. One night I was downtown skateboarding. And guess what? The police didn't come up to us because we were skating. The police told my friend and I to put our hands behind our back and said that we matched the description of two guys that just robbed somebody. That feels kind of racially motivated. Not to mention a bevy of times me and many people I know have been asked, where have you been tonight? Where are you walking to? Is this your car? Or just been pulled over just because there was a black person in the wrong area. So fuck you for saying this. And then not to mention the crime, the statistics that show that black people are more often pulled over for traffic infractions more than whites. Let alone bringing a ticket to court, it's always black people. Let alone arrested for shit, it's always black people. Or Latino people too. Those are brothers and sisters, basically, because they live adjacent to our neighborhoods. So this lie you about to tell about the police being these innocent people who are painted as bad guys is a lie. And don't get me wrong, there are some good cops. But at the same time, the system of policing is corrupted with racist outcomes. And then we can even go further back than that and say that the police have always been instruments of capitalism and white supremacy. From slave patrols to actually pulling weapons on union strikers and stuff like that because they didn't want to work because of the conditions they were working in and stuff like that. Don't give me this shit.
When I was 8, I got arrested for smoking marijuana in the vacant house. So that was my first and only real exposure to police, which was very negative. And I don't believe they were wrong. It's just as an 8-year-old getting arrested and going to freaking juvenile detention center and having your daddy show up was the traumatizing part. So I grew up with that sentiment. And don't let anybody fool you that the black community is just as racist as people are saying that the white community is. And you can argue why and there's excuses for
what
it.
The
Or
fuck did
whatever
he
it could
just
be.
say?
None of that matters to me.
What are you talking about? You talking about prejudices and I will say that is kind of true, but it's not on the level in the way that he's interpreted it. In the black community, there are biases against different races of people, especially white people, because especially among the older generations, there's a level of mistrust because all the things that they had to been through. Like I've said in the previous videos, in some states, especially your parents from the South, they couldn't even look at white people in the face. They couldn't compliment white women. Look at the shit that happened at Emmett Till. Look at what just happened at Ahmaud Arbery. There's a mistrust for a reason, dog. And I'm not saying that black people should be going around calling white people, the H word or the C word and not trusting them, because we should build a multiracial working class coalition to make this country a better place to live. But these biases exist for a reason. And what he's doing right here, he's writing it off as just like, oh, black people just are nervous around they just nervous around white people. Like, what? Why they're so nervous? And ignoring all the history of why these indifferences exist, while not even talking about or mentioning all the horrible things that black people had to go through to exist in this country.
And it is racist. I grew up in a racist community where we did not like white people, and we had a negative perception.
Knew he's gonna say that shit.
The whole time I was growing up, and this wasn't specifically from my parents. This was the peer identity of who I was supposed to be and the way black people are supposed to act. And one of the things that was prevalent was that you can't bring a white girl home. I never in my life thought about dating a white girl. You can't bring a white girl home.
Yeah, don't let this conservative have this one, bro. Yeah, that's pretty fucking stupid. Like, if you a parent, like you a boomer parent, and you somehow got to my video or something like that, stop that dumb shit talking about, oh, this race gotta date that race, this race gotta date that race, because that's a very racist thing to say. That's the same shit neo-Nazis say. And the one thing you always gotta keep in mind is love is truly colorblind. Love is is not gonna necessarily be by race. There's Latino people with Asian women, or black men with white women, or white men with black women. Love is very blind, and it's gonna naturally come about. You can't force your son or daughter, or your non-binary child to date somebody just because, or not to date somebody because of what race they are. Not in the way that he's about to use it, because he's about to use it to try to say that all black people are racist like that when that's not true. But those biases do exist in there, and they should be talked about in a more constructive way and not be used as a bludgeoning tool to condemn the black community.
Get shunned in the black community if you dated a white girl. It could be the same case in the white community. I don't know. I didn't grow up in it.
Get the fuck
So
out of here.
all of
Get
that,
the fuck out of here. No, bro. No. No fucking way. You know how many fathers I wish it was the statistic on this, but that is the fucking stereotype about a white girl bringing a black man home, and you got to be on your best fucking behavior, dog. And you can't do nothing wrong. You can't even speak slang in front of a lot of white fathers because they so bigoted against young black men. They think we are thugs and gangsters and shit, and then they go look at videos of people like you who carry the stereotype on. So don't give me this shit talking about some, oh, I don't know if white people are like that. Don't get me wrong, things are getting better. But it's still a lot of bigoted ass white people out there that would throw fucking backwards flip if they son brought a black woman home, or damn sure if they white daughter brought a black man home. That is a stereotype from so many hundreds of years ago about the overtly sexual black man taking advantage of a little white woman. Their stereotypes still exist in a lot of white fathers' heads today. So don't give me this nonsense trying to say that white people don't have these biases against blacks or other races.
It was Dunbar High School, a historical black, I would say university, a historical black.
I wasn't sure if
high
this
school
video was going to be stupid or
named
not,
after
but
the late great
hey,
author Paul Laurence Dunbar. And the school was all black, all the same stereotypical sentiments that you see and you hear. It was true. It was a diverse group of people, right? You had people who did what they supposed to do in school and they were successful. Then you had the knuckleheads shooting dice in the bathroom, selling drugs, fighting. People coming from off the street fighting in the school. People pulling guns on each other in the parking lot. So you had that dynamic. Going to college, it woke me up.
why does this dynamic exist, you jackass? Like I just did a Gothics video on that, but for some reason, I guess because he's a little bit older, and like I said, I don't like this tough guy persona he puts on, so I even like him less. Why do people do shit like that, you jackass? Why do black people live like that? See, just like I said in that previous video that I'm not sure if it's uploaded or not. I was one of the black people that was an outsider. I was a so-called black nerd. I was into skateboarding, punk rock music, watched anime and stuff like that. And I, for the most part, just went home, played video games, skated, and I did my work at school while a lot of people did that. Now, when I was young, I used to be ignorant like that. I used to just be thinking like, oh, they just live like this because they think it's cool. But once I started to actually study politics and become more of a constructive person, I discovered like, oh, a lot of people are growing up in broken homes with no father. A lot of people may not have nothing to eat at home, so they come to school to play dice because that's the only way they're gonna get something to eat or get back and forth from the school. A lot of people join gangs because they didn't want to be poor and they wanted protection. And many other reasons. People grew up with untreated mental health problems. You could have had a guy that was really violent at school, but he probably grew up watching his mom getting, ran over or messed over and stuff. So there's many different reasons from mental health problems to socioeconomic conditions that can cause a lot of young black and Latino men, and even some of the white dudes that went to some of my schools, to act the way that they did. These people didn't just go to school acting like that because they're genetically inferior or some shit like that. They did stuff like that because they felt that was the only way to make money. And then you got to keep in mind there's a lot of peer pressure in school too. When you don't fit the mold, like you just said, you get talked about. That peer pressure is heavy because I've been jumped and all that other shit for not fitting in. And it's a lot of people that just simply don't want to go through that. So they do what it takes to fit in. I'm not saying any of the stuff that these people do okay. You should go to school and you should try. But don't be like this where you're not taking into consideration all the things that these people deal with at home that can cause them to act a certain way at school.
I had never been around white people like that, to be honest. And once I went to college, I was like, white people ain't as racist as I thought they were. I ain't had a problem. I just
so why's your whole YouTube channel and you and many other people like Candace Owens base your entire ideology about calling anti-racist white people racist.
I was gonna get into it with a professor or something because these white people don't want to see a brother shine, but that wasn't true. I got along with just about every white person I ran into. All my professors loved me. One of the caveats was because I was a football player, which helped in my popularity. But people that didn't know I was a football player,
Ooh, I can't stand football players.
Opened my mind. Like, wait a minute, there's more to this story than that. And then I got saved in 2008. So I went to college in 05.
Got
Got saved
what the fuck
in
you talking
2008,
about?
and God just revolutionized my mind. I mean, the race stuff was out of the window. I never looked at race ever again as a prominent factor in my decision making of whether or not I would.
It's still a part of your life, brother.
Communicate with a person or how I felt about a person. I treat everybody equal. We're all God's children, and that I treat people the way I want to be treated. It's that simple. I don't know why we couldn't do that in general. It's really that simple. So
why don't you work on tearing down the systems that have racist outcome, or ask the racist white people who comment under your videos that's saying you're one of the ones that get it.
That had aspirations to play in the NFL. It didn't work out. I became a police officer because after I got saved, God just released me of all that negative thought. The negative thought.
No! Stop saying that. And also, hey, I'm gonna make a video one day. One thing we gotta stop doing is letting right wingers, no matter what race they are, have Jesus and have the Word of God. I'm a Christian. I'm a punk rocker. And, I believe in gay rights. I believe in women's rights. And I believe that racism is a problem. And that we live in a very sinful society because all the inequality that people have to face. So when you hear these motherfuckers talking about, oh, I read the Bible and I became saved, stop letting them do it. Call them out. Say Jesus was about egalitarianism. Jesus hung out with the poor. Jesus knocked over a table when people tried to gamble in his temple. Jesus was anti-capitalist. Jesus gave away things. Jesus never sold nothing his whole time on earth. And he would not approve of any of the inequality that people got to live through today.
One of the greatest careers I could have ever done. It changed my life. I became conservative when I was a cop.
I became stupid.
I was still on the Democrat train. I voted for Barack Obama in 2012. But all of my friends on the police department are all conservative. And they were telling me, bro, you are not a Democrat. Yeah, I am. And they walked me through point by point. Do you believe in this? 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 No. You ain't a Democrat, bro.
Do you believe in gay rights? Do you believe black people are human?
You a Christian? Yes. Do you believe in...
What the fuck are you... Alright, there it is again. What are you talking about? Being a Christian is not necessarily a conservative thing. It's up to interpretation.
Yes. Do you believe in the marriage between a man and a woman? Yes. You ain't a Democrat, bro. Do you believe in lower taxes, minimal government? Yes. You ain't a Democrat, B. Tatum. You ain't a Democrat.
Do you believe in police reform that the Democrats are proposing to take away our M16s and M4s and our bulletproof vests and our armored vehicles? No, I don't believe in that. You're not a Democrat, bro.
Democrats was just hounding police officers and their racist white police officers and all that stuff, and it's like, do you support that? No, you ain't a Democrat. And so it opened my mind up to looking across the aisle at the Republican Party. And I like Ben Carson. I know a lot of you guys probably like Ben Carson as well. I said, oh man,
that's another ass clown who I need to cover his political career.
This guy, Christian man, one of the most brilliant men to ever live.
Ben Carson is a fucking moron. Don't believe this.
He's gonna be the president.
No, he
wasn't good enough. He dropped out to endorse Trump, and I said, I thought Trump was playing. Let me see what. Nowhere in the world, one of the smartest men to ever live endorsed the guy unless something is there. He endorsed Trump. I went to a Trump rally. The rest is history. I saw things at the rally that they lied to us about.
They patted you on the back. You look what we got here. We got one of the good ones. Get over here, boy.
They said he was doing all this stuff. They said
it's because he was Trump. All right, bro. We gonna get into is the Trump racist shit? Yes, Donald Trump is a fucking racist, or he partakes in language that invokes racism or supports racism. And this is after his presidency. We can, his one term. How many terms? One term, right? We can say that Trump is a racist, unequivocally, dude. With his shithole countries comment, with his Mexicans are rapists and murderers comments, with his hit the people heads on a police car door when you put them in the back shit, with his there are very fine people on both sides equivocating Nazis with people fighting against them, with his support for not removing Confederate statues and shit like that. Trump has stood against the second largest civil rights movement in U.S. history. Trump blamed the coronavirus pandemic on Asian people and calls it the China virus and created an epidemic of hatred towards Asian people. So don't give me this shit trying to say Trump or, even a further Republican Party media apparatus is not racist. Not to mention the fact, from David Duke to, the leaders of the Proud Boys and many of these other motherfuckers that are racist endorse them. So there's some water to be held there when it comes to calling Trump a fucking racist. And I hate when especially you black conservatives try to water down his rhetoric and language and the damage that's been done. And we could go even further on that. So if Trump isn't a racist, we can talk about things that correspond to his, kinship with racist people. Like the rise in hate crimes, the rise in far-right activity in America. The fact that now white supremacist militias and white supremacist street gangs are considered the greatest threat in America. So don't give me this shit talking about, oh, he's not a racist. Come on, dude. Be smarter than that. This is just being willfully ignorant to give Trump a pass for his bigotry.
Rallies, man, it was so many diverse people at Donald Trump rally when I went in 2016. Everybody was so loving and accepting. Everybody was having a good time. Trump came out and said all of the things that I believe to be true about this country and the things that I felt would be solutions for this country.
That's right-wing populism.
Nobody cares about all the other stuff. Well, I vote for the person that I think is best equipped to do the things I want to see done in this country. And the crazy racist and radical.
I want to see the police budgets run rampant and as many Nazi gangs walk around in public without fear as I can.
Fools, Nazi-esque people were the protesters. And then I could wake up, after the event, the news played a lie. And I said, they lied, I was there. Made a video, went viral. And from that point on, I've been a conservative.
Come on, dog. So look then, you jackass. If Nazis show, and I know that you lying, bro. I don't even have to know the event. I know that in some way or another, you are lying. And if we was to take your story at face value, you think multiple media apparatuses are going to lie about Nazis and fascist gangs showing up to Trump rallies. And we can even look today. The Proud Boys show up very often. During Charlottesville, the Ku Klux Klan, the Rise Above movement and all the other gangs that were there wore Make America Get Great Again hats. There is a contingent of right-wing radicals that support Trump. And downplaying it is just being willfully ignorant.
Heartedly, that the conservative ideology, if people will give it a chance and look at it, and especially people in the minority community, that you'll realize that you are conservative. You're not a Democrat.
No thanks. I like women being able to get abortion. I want two gay men to be able to get married. I want people to change their gender identity at will. I want people that are, Jewish to be able to go to their synagogues and pray and, dance and not have to worry about some son of a bitch throwing bricks through the window. I'm not a fucking conservative, and I gave it a look, and it's not looking too good, Tatum.
And you will realize that the Democrats aren't for anybody.
What are you? How?
They've been like that since.
What the fuck are you talking? No, we ain't gonna do this. Okay, because I don't understand where he's going with this, but he's talking about it's about power, and I think he's probably gonna say something about the Democrats dividing us, but the Democrats take on more voters because they help more people with their policies. I'm not a Democrat. I wish we had a SDP, like a Social Democrat Party or something like that. Somebody that's further to the left. that would really help working class Americans. But the majority of Americans are working class. Not to mention, you got other minorities in this group, like, Jewish people, Latinos. Of course, you got black people, African Americans. You got gay, lesbian, and trans people and stuff like that. Your bisexuals, of course. I could have just said LGBT, but hey, fuck it. And like many other people that work and that are in unions and stuff like that. People that rely on Social Security and disability. Even, a lot of white people that vote against conservatives because they know conservative economic policies make their lives worse. And social policies.
Was the party of Jim Crow. They filibustered and to be honest,
hey, jackass, you stupid motherfucker. Hey, I knew we was gonna get here, bro. I said that shit at the beginning of the video. I knew we was gonna fucking get here, bro. I might link a good Knowing Better video or a Cynical Historian video or just a fucking Wikipedia article under here about the Southern strategy. And I can link this son of a bitch, the Lee Atwater quote that said, especially from Nixon all the way to Trump, every Republican politician placated on bigotry to help them win elections. The Democrats from Roosevelt were already starting to switch up, their political alliances. It was a very slow process, but it happened over time. And most of the conservative or even fascistic economic and social policies and problems we see in society are caused by conservatives. Who busted all the unions? Reagan. Who started the drug war? Nixon. Who said a bunch of roundabout bullshit after Rodney King was almost beaten to death by those police officers? George W. Bush. So don't give me this shit where you're going to say, like, the Southern strategy never happened and they were the ones. Of course, everybody fucking knows that. But the Southern strategy and party switch happened. The Democrats moved more towards liberalism, both social and economically, and even got a few social democrats in their ranks today. And the Republicans move more towards conservatism and sometimes fascism. Many fascists and white supremacists who have run for government positions have run as Republicans in the past 70 years, man. So don't sit up here telling this nonsense-ass story like everything from about 1940 all the way up till today just didn't happen.
Republicans unanimously voted for the Civil Rights Act, and the Democrats, they were filibustering.
I know you lying. I know that you lying. And if any, I think I remember how he's lying. He's very selectively lying because the problem was not a Democrat-Republican thing. It was more of a North-South thing. Before the parties switched completely their political alliances. And it's a very slow and complicated process. But in the late 60s, under Johnson, you still had some Dixiecrats. And yeah, they held it up. And the Civil Rights Act, how it got passed, wasn't as simple as, like I said, like how we see stuff now. It was a Democrat-Republican thing. It was a North-South thing. This guy's oversimplifying it and selectively telling you, bits of information that try to invoke that the Democrat Party today, or even after Nixon, is somehow the racist party.
The longest filibuster, I think, in American history to not have the Civil Rights Act passed. They opposed it. They essentially opposed it. They were the party that opposed it. It wasn't for Republicans.
You would know, but like you got to be reading that shit off a script or something like that, because this is very, very selective lying about a very complicated political process that took at least a good 40 to 50 years to be solidified.
Civil Rights Act, it wouldn't have passed. Now, many people may have a controversy about the Civil Rights Act or whatever the case may be, but if it wasn't, it wouldn't have passed. So kudos to the Republican Party. The first black politicians were Republicans. You can go down the list, man. You can go down the list.
But that's different time period. That's back when the Republicans were the progressive party, man. Sorry about that, folks. You can't just do that. Like completely lying about and misrepresenting history. Like it's really like history is not that simple as oh they just stayed racist and they just stayed the anti-racist and you're gonna downplay and ignore all the shit that Nixon did. Grow up.
Being able to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and make it happen. And every single person.
Because that's how the fuck it works, man. How many years have we been saying that? But the wealthy only gain more wealth and power, while poor people have to work harder to make it in life.
Have the opportunity to pull themselves up from whatever position they're in to become better than they were yesterday.
Oh my fucking God.
You may not be a billionaire. Maybe that's not God's call on your life. But you can pull yourself up to become better than you were yesterday. You can make better decisions.
Every American is a temporarily embarrassed billionaire. Politics, history, and socioeconomics are not this simple, dude. And don't let this guy selectively lie to you to get you over to his side based on what he's cherry picking from history or his bravado. Bravado, I should say.
Today, than your grandfather did, than your father did. You can make better decisions today to put you in a better position to do something positive.
And it's really not that simple. I also got to comment and say that the reason, well, this is not really a way to measure things because, okay, if a rich person makes a mistake, they just got something that they got to pay off. A poor person makes a mistake, it could be a bankrupting, homelessness situation. Most Americans can't even afford a $400 emergency. So we can't afford any mistakes, people that actually work for a living. But a rich person makes a mistake, somebody that's making at least $100K or more a year, pretty much has America as his playground. His or her playground, or they.
Be Elon Musk. You ain't got to own your own bank. You ain't got to have a legacy of wealth.
That's not what people are asking for. People are asking the bare minimum to make it, dude. People are tired of getting paid $7.25 an hour to work at restaurants to serve angry ass caring people like you.
Some people won't. You just need to do better than your daddy did. And you can do that in America.
And people are at the same time.
With 25 cents in their pocket and they develop an empire. Because they're not buying into the foolishness.
What is he talking about?
I can talk about that on another video. I just thought I'd share that story with you. Love you guys. Comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. When was your chance? When was your opportunity to wake up and say, I'm actually a conservative. I'm not a liberal. Some of y'all probably been a conservative your whole life. But for the ones who haven't, like me, let me know in the comment section what you think.
Fuck you.
See you on the next one.
A special fuck you to this guy, dude.